We have to be very clear when you and I talk Bitcoin, what we talk about is BSV. So it's Bitcoin Satoshi Vision. When most people talk about Bitcoin, it's a BTC symbol when you buy it, right? Or in wallets, these are the symbols that will show up. It's the Bitcoin that most people consider is Bitcoin. It's the symbol is BTC and it stands for what? Bitcoin? What's TC?
Greg, it stands for Greg Coin. It was the guy called Greg Maxwell that built it, and it's a airdrop, and that came out into the new report on the digital currency from the White House. It's an airdrop. So they airdropped BTC, which is Greg Coin, inside the Bitcoin wallet. It's
Okay.
just an airdrop. So it is an airdrop. You're buying a $120,000 airdrop.
Okay.
That's all you're getting. It's an airdrop that does nothing. It's a meme coin. It's a meme coin. You know what a meme coin is?
Well, I know. Why don't you explain what actually BTC is? But for people who don't know anything about it, explain it
Oh,
big.
it's a meme coin, and it's put out in 2015. It was 2015 or so when they were working on it with Blockstream. So what happened was in 2015 is when the Bilderberg Group guy came in and funded Blockstream. Blockstream was looking for money. They were approaching a lot of people in the industry. They went to Kurt Walker. They went to a bunch of other people, and they were looking to raise money. Nobody was going to give them any money. They were just like, how are you guys going to make money? You're going to do what? No, this makes no sense. You're going to be the Bitcoin what? Nobody would give them any money. Finally, the Bilderberg Group CEO funded them and gave them, I think, 50 million. This would have been around 2015. And so then the plan started going into action. And the plan was, well, we need to hijack this Bitcoin protocol, and we'll use the name, we'll take the name of it and create a meme coin, which is just a airdrop token on the protocol itself, and we'll direct all the masses over there, and then we'll put a massive amount of money behind it. This is the Bilderberg Group, so MasterCard and all these big people, right, that are all behind that, or were part of this. The head of the Bilderberg Group was the one that designed this, and paid and funded Blockstream. So then they did it, and it's called Greg Coin, and that's in the original forums. Mike Hearn called out while it was happening. He named it Greg Coin in the forums when it first started, but then they convinced the exchanges, probably through lobbying, to then use that name Bitcoin. So they said, no, you need to use the name. When it all went down, which was August 1st, 2017, is when it all changed. When it happened, that's when they somehow created enough momentum with the exchanges lobby to then say, look, when we do this, we're going to create this meme coin, or this this airdrop token called we need you to get behind us and keep the name Bitcoin on it. And so now that's been that way ever since. There was a lot of contention when that happened in the community, and it was like, oh my gosh, everybody who knew this stuff, they're like, well, clearly that's not Bitcoin. But so we had then the Bitcoin, actual Bitcoin, continued on, and then it was right around that month, the prices just about flipped. Do you
Huh?
know the history on that?
No, I do not.
I don't know the exact date. I remember being there while it was happening. It was, I mean, it may have been August 2017 or I remember making a video when it happened, and it was the prices were so Bitcoin, which was they called it Bitcoin Cash at that time, and then they called it BTC Bitcoin. And so Bitcoin Cash approaching it was like hundreds of dollars away from flipping. And then at that point, somebody did something, and Kurt would know the history of what they did at Coinbase. Somebody at Coinbase did something, stopped the trading, cut everything off on the trading, halted all trading, and then rugged everybody back to pull the momentum back so that BTC started going back up again. And ever since then, they've kept an eye on it and make sure that never happens again. Because it was flipping. People they were too smart. They were like, clearly this is not Bitcoin. We're not keeping this.
Yeah, I think the people who initially, I think that's one of the problems that I have found in my research, that the people who initially were involved in Bitcoin, they're tech savvy. They are the younger group. They understand the whole technology behind it, what it was for. It was supposed to be a peer-to-peer, people-to-people interchange without any financial transaction interchange without any middleman, very minimal fee, super fast, like you just sent it to me in a text. And when apparently that shift happened in 2017, the people knew that no, this is not the real Bitcoin. But what we have found now, I mean, this is what I have found with my research. If so much money is behind a particular narrative, because we are supposed to be funneled into a particular direction, that we're all now standing behind that and believing it. We're hearing the same thing from all different sides, all of these social media influencers and news reporters and this person and that person. They're all funneling us in a particular narrative that drown out everything else that's there on the sidelines. And so I think was what happened, and nobody now who are looking into Bitcoin even know that there is the real Bitcoin still available. And by the way, it was peer-to-peer digital cash and not digital gold holding it until the prices go up into the millions. But another thing that I found out last night during my 3 a.m. research is that so many of the financial institutions and what are those funds called that invest in startups? I'm sorry? Hedge funds.
Venture capital funds and hedge funds.
Yeah, exactly. And banks, they're all now buying Bitcoin, or at least that's what they're saying. Bitcoin, the BTC, the digital gold Bitcoin, the airdrop token that you were talking about. They are saying we are buying 500 million, and another buys 1 billion, and another, company, they're all coming out. They are saying they're buying all of these Bitcoins, and we, the little people, are in a way supposed to, we all got to buy now, because otherwise we're missing the boat, because it's going to go to 1 million and I could have bought it.
It's going to be a great opportunity for them to rug pull everybody, right? When the time comes. So that's going to be the best part. That's their that's great for them. So they can promote it, rug pull everybody, and then say, oops, oh, we're really sorry about that. But
So why don't you explain that part? Because I don't think people really understand this. And what my sense is, a lot of people that I trusted initially when I first learned about Bitcoin, they're also now on the digital gold bandwagon. And somehow they are not making the connection that BSV is the real Bitcoin still.
It's extremely censored, unpopular, and it's extremely it's a topic that probably has kept my audience down for maybe, like, I don't know. I always wonder, like, what would happen if I never talked about it ever? Would I be a lot bigger, much bigger channel?
Mm-hmm. I wouldn't have learned from you.
We never learned. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, it is censored. So that's one of the reasons. So
the people that know, they were early in the game with you. They understood the tech behind it. From what they are now saying online, they are aware that Bitcoin has been hijacked, but they are not somehow making the connection that BSV is still there, or that Craig Wright is the creator of Bitcoin, and they're dissing him. And so
how did you, that's probably a better question. How did you make that connection?
Well, I just read. I read and read and read whatever I could find about BSV. I watched a lot of videos.
But how did you even find it? Like, before you read about it? Because you're reading about BTC, so before.
Yeah, so that's what in 2023. So it took me, I was researching already beginning of 2020, and it wasn't until 2023 that I found out about BSV.
Was it by reading about the forks?
No, Raphael. I was participating in a Dollar Vigilante course, and it was Raphael was talking about it, and it's like, what is he talking about? And so that's when I started the research. And then particularly I was researching BSV and Craig Wright, Dr. Craig Wright, because he was mentioning that he is the original.
Craig Satoshi Wright. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah. And so
Craig S. Wright, it stands for Satoshi.
Yeah, so I began research then, and I did a concerted effort on the research, because I wanted to find out how come the propaganda has changed and we are funneled into this new direction. And so so I found out from Raphael, and then fairly quickly I came to your channel and several other channels who are talking about it. And it was very clear it was hijacked, and very clear that, and I'm not tech savvy, so I that was an intuition, but just reading the material, listening to all of you explaining what has happened. Kurt was another person who I listened to. He gives a very good background on it. And so it was an intuition for me that, yeah, this is, we are again dealing with the same kind of a hijacking and negating that was happening during COVID for doctors and scientists who warned about what was being pushed on the people worldwide. They were all silenced. So I knew the game already.
Well, here's the, let me just take you back down to these theories. Oh, well, I agree with what you're saying about the hijacking, but I'm more of a legal guy, so I have to look at motive, because everything in our legal system today, it revolves around motive.
Okay.
When you ever are involved in a crime, or somebody committed a crime against you or another person, the district attorney, the attorney general, they have to look at motive. If there was no motive and you were just defending yourself and someone came and hurt you, that's not a crime. You can defend yourself. There was no motive. You're innocent. So everything revolves around motive. So we have to look back at, like, well, what was the motive? And if there was no motive, then I wouldn't believe in it. And nobody's really talked about it.
Motive about what?
What is the motive that they don't want Bitcoin now?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
I mean, really, that's the whole, what is the motive? It's twofold. One, Bitcoin takes away all their power of controlling money.
Yes.
That's the big one, because once they don't get to control our money, Rothschild said he who controls the money has all the power. Once they don't get to control our money, we take our power back, we get our freedom back. That's the main reason. Two is they want to control the narrative of time. See, if they control time and the calendars, then we can be deceived on what time it is in history. So we don't really know what our past looks like. We have theories about what was said in the past, but they all differ. We don't really know. Everybody's saying different things about when things happened and what, and that hurts us, because we don't really know true history, so we can't learn from it, and then they can use that against us in the future and say, well, we know the exact timeline, and we're going to prepare for things, and you won't know about it, and you'll be surprised and caught off guard. So they want to control the narrative of money and time. That's why they don't want Bitcoin, because it preserves our power of money, and it controls and it completely preserves time through the blockchain, the time ledger, the one single time ledger.
Yeah. So maybe you can explain a little bit what that blockchain time ledger is about, because I think we've talked a lot about the Bitcoin, the background, and how easy it is to use, and why we would use it, because it's our money. We have access to it. It cannot be taken from us. It cannot be programmed. It cannot be shut down. We have access to it at any time. So that, from a privacy security point of view, that's essential. But what is this time ledger that you're talking about? How does that play in? Well, I certainly don't understand it, and probably most people.
So let me show you something here. Okay, this is just an article that I wrote today. It talks about just whatever. It's not really what it talks about is not key, but what's important is how it's preserved. All right. So this is a blog, right? And this is on a very small, very new site that nobody knows about yet. It's called treachat.ai.
Yeah, I've heard about it.
And I'm posting my blog on there, posted a video on there, and I embedded it on there so that I can then preserve time and preserve this forever. And I can also log what I'm saying on the blockchain. So you see how I'm on the blog right here?
Yeah.
Now I clicked on this little box. It takes me to the blockchain, which is what's on chain.
Yeah.
And now I can see on chain. Look at this. This is on chain. And this is what I wrote. This can't be censored or taken down. My post right there, my words are embedded now forever. And it cost me less than a cent. On chain. Now, the people say, oh, it's not forever. Well, if we have complete fallout, nuclear war, and everybody is gone, I would agree. But
Mm.
as long as there's still humanity and countries moving on, then it's embedded forever. All right. That's the only if we're all gone. In that case, it wouldn't matter. But otherwise, it's going to be there forever. That's how the blockchain works. And so that's the translation of it on chain. You can kind of read, oh, what did he write? What did he do? What was the date? When did this happen? Oh, there's the transaction itself.
Mm.
And so for me, that's really important because when we're looking back at history, we can actually, see, well, what did that person say and when? Oh,
Mm-hmm.
here's exactly when he said that. He was alive at that time and he said this. This was important. There's proof. And that's really important for court stuff because when you are dealing in court, you need to say, well, I actually did buy that piece of property on this date and I have proof. Here's when. Oh, we lost that proof. Oh, no, I lost it. I can't prove it. But now I can bring it in from here, from the blockchain, and bring in witnesses and say, nope, it was done right there. There's the receipt. See it on that day. I was the person that did that. I owned it. So that's like the preservation of the ledger, the truth ledger, aspect. And that's like a social network site I would recommend everybody joining and starting to use. And you get paid. Well, you can get paid. Yeah. All it is, it's microtransactions. And so in cash, well, you don't need money to start. You can just go in there for free. But then as you make a cool post, they'll upvalue it and say, wow, this was really valuable. And then the other people in the community will like it or comment on it. And then by doing that, it goes into your wallet, starts to build reserve in cash. So it's a little paid, community for people who are all using peer-to-peer cash on chain. All of it's on chain. It's the first site that I know of that is completely native layer 0. Like all of this. There used to be Twetch, maybe Twetch was, I don't know, but this is truly native layer 0. And it's when I say layer 0, see that one of the things about Bitcoin is, and I saw this on a video just today, but the guys are missing the boat. They're talking about a crypto exchange, and they're saying, well, Bitcoin is meant to be a store of value, and then in the future, they said it's also going to be part of our new money system, and that's maybe kind of true, but they're talking about it in a different way. I'm talking about it. Well, no, in the future, in the very near future, it's going to be part of the base layer of the money system because it's the layer 0 base layer of the internet. That's the data side of the internet. And so the real opportunity is, freedom, cash. That's the basic stuff. But the other opportunity is that I have a video I just put out today. $13 trillion is being invested into the United States right now from other countries. Those $13 trillion, a lot of it's going into AI and blockchain. It doesn't say what blockchain. It doesn't say all that. But we do know that from all the bills, the Clarity Act and the Stablecoin Act, that they are rolling out the crypto stable coins, okay? And they're going to define a mature blockchain. And once they define a mature blockchain, it's going to go through Congress and it's going to go through the public, and the people are going to decide what is the mature blockchain, it's the cheapest, fastest, easiest way to use. I mean, and eventually the free market will decide. Eventually. I don't know when, but it's inevitable because once you have a Terra node that's scaling at a million and then even a billion transactions a second, there's just nothing like it. There's nothing that can compare, so.
Well, I think I think what we really have to be aware of, that what they are telling us can be all lies. So they may already be working with the BSV platform underneath. They may just tell us it's BTC or it is Solana or it is ETH, just to keep us,
one of the things that if you're newer to the space, one of the things that people also need to know, and this is what drew me in. Okay. This is where I was sold on this and why I was like, you know what? Well, I'll tell you the story, but I was into this in 2016 2016, 2015, but it was on Ethereum. I didn't start with Bitcoin. I started with Ethereum. And so I was like, oh, I'm too late to Bitcoin at that time. I thought, but it was Ethereum. So, but yeah, I still got some Bitcoin, but I mean, that was the main thing. And anyways, then once I got hijacked and everything stopped working, I said, this is a mess. I didn't know what to do, but it wasn't until around 2021 that I watched a video with Jimmy Wynn, and he was the CEO of the Bitcoin Association at the time. And I started learning, as like my background is in law now, and I don't really go into like all that stuff, but it's just I have a good understanding of the law and how it all works and how these things apply. So I'm not and so in reading the law side of it, I saw he was an attorney and he was a patent attorney, and I thought that's important to me. Then I read a book called The Satoshi Affairs, and he was actually that's how I found Jimmy Nguyen. The book called Satoshi Affairs by Andrew O'Hagan. It's an amazing piece. It's a long stem blog article online, Satoshi Affairs by Andrew O'Hagan. And in there is where I found Jimmy Nguyen's name. That's how I even heard who he was. He was a patent attorney, 2016, and he was like working with the Satoshi, brand and all this and preserving it. And I thought, what is this? This is crazy. So it was that led me into then finding out about the patents that were being built and the whole story with the patents. And I started reading the patents in 2017 when they came out, 2018, 2019, 2020, 20. So since then, I think it's like 800 patents were done. I mean, maybe 400 granted, and that's all around the blockchain. And so the Bitcoin blockchain, it's all patented. And in order to use it, you have to get licensed unless you use it yourself. You can use the Bitcoin blockchain, but if you want to copy it and change it, you're being patent violations. So that's the other thing that is missing, because when it got hijacked and when it was starting to being hijacked, the Satoshi team, they started patenting the blockchain. They started patenting Bitcoin at that time before anybody else did. The Satoshi team, that's not really one person. Yeah, it really kind of is, but the whole massive team with that team started patenting everything. And those patents are issued, they're granted. The smart contract patent, the overall use of blockchain patent. I mean, it'll be interesting to see how the courts deal with it in the future. But in my interpretation of it, most all areas of use on these things are all covered by patents. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of latecomers like Copa that's mad. Copa is very mad about this. They're late to the game. They're called Crypto Open Patent Alliance. They're very upset that they came in late. And so what they said everybody needs to give away their patents for free. And because they didn't really have any value or any patents of any value, they all came together and agreed, well, sure, we'll all give away our patents. They don't mean anything. But this one other Satoshi team, they have all these patents. We need those for free. So that's the late bloomers like Copa, which is everybody. Copa is everyone. Mm-hmm. Copa is all the banks, all the institutions, all those people wrapped into one. Mm-hmm. Everybody else is late. So that's why Copa was formed. It's not a popular opinion, but that's where Copa came from.
Yeah, so I guess what you are telling us is that the original Bitcoin, BSV, the peer-to-peer cash system, has all of these patents. And even though all these other coins and the PTC, digital gold, number go up coin that is being pushed, they're all using a system they're not really allowed to use because they don't have the patents for it. And there could come a time when all of those coins that are using a system that they are not allowed to use because they don't have access to those patents, or they would have to pay in order to use these patents. But they're not fast enough, they can't scale properly, they're not really as good as the original Bitcoin, that the whole crypto BTC system could just collapse.
Well, I mean, that's a pretty reasonable plan, because they, pump the number as high as you can, take all the retirement income from all the people in the US, get it all in there as much as possible, then rug pull it when it's time, and then let everybody know that, oops, we couldn't